The silence of deep space was not like the silence of Earth. On Earth, silence had the sound of wind, the faint hum of life. But out here, beyond stars and years, silence was total. Captain Jalen Rowe had lived with silence before. But this one was different, sharp, cold, endless. His eyes opened slowly inside the cryo chamber. Frost cracked across the glass dome. His first breath hurt like knives. The system lights flickered, then went dark again. His heartbeat echoed loud in his ears. The last thing he remembered was Earth. A bright, burning sky and a crowd cheering as the Aegis Dawn left orbit. That was supposed to be the last moment of waking life until they reached Proxima 9. He should have slept for a century. But now everything was wrong. Jalen pushed the release lever. The pod hissed open, releasing a fog of frozen air. His muscles felt like lead. Every step was a struggle, but he forced himself out. The cryo bay was dark except for the blue glow of backup power. Rows of sleeping pods lined the walls, all silent, all dim. Each one contained a crew member still frozen in time. He blinked through the haze, rubbing frost from his eyelashes. A thin layer of ice coated the metal floor. The temperature was rising, but only just. "Eve," he called, his voice weak. "System report." No answer. "Eve, status check." Only the low hum of distant engines replied. He tried to remember the emergency protocols. If Eve, the ship's AI, was silent, that meant something serious had gone wrong. Power failure, signal corruption, maybe damage from a collision, but something else caught his eye. A faint golden light from across the room. One of the cryopods glowed softly. He frowned and stepped closer. The pod belonged to Lieutenant Mara Chen. That couldn't be right. She wasn't supposed to be here. Mara had died before launch. He had attended her funeral himself. He remembered the folded flag, the speech, the rain. Yet here she was. The pod's display flickered with unstable readings. Temperature rising, vitals fluctuating. The system was trying to wake her. He leaned in, his breath clouding on the glass. Mara, the figure inside, shifted slightly, her hand twitching against the pod's wall. The glass fogged from the inside as she breathed. Jalen stumbled back, shocked. No, this isn't possible. He ran to the control console, tapping the frozen screens until one came to life. Power at 20%. AI core offline. Cryosystems unstable. There was no record of Mara's pod being active. According to the logs, she didn't exist. But he could see her. Her face pale but alive, her dark hair floating in the cryofluid. The pod beeped once. The glass door unsealed with a soft hiss. A rush of cold vapor poured out. Mara opened her eyes. They were exactly as he remembered, sharp, brown, alert. She looked around, confused for only a second before focusing on him. She didn't speak. Instead, she smiled, bold and calm as if she'd expected to see him all along. Before he could react, she stepped forward and wrapped her arms around him. Her body was warm. Too warm for someone just out of cryo. He froze, uncertain what to do. Her heartbeat was steady against his chest. "Mara, how?" She said nothing. She only held him tighter, then slowly stepped back, her eyes scanning the dark room. He searched for words, but none came. She looked exactly as she had the last time he saw her. Same posture, same half-smile. No decay, no wounds. Perfectly alive, Jalen took a slow breath. You died. 3 years before launch. How are you here?" Still no answer. She tilted her head slightly like she didn't understand the question. Then she turned toward the control panel. With calm precision, she began typing commands, her fingers moving quickly across the cracked surface. The ship's lights flickered again. Systems hummed weakly to life. "Power returning," said a voice behind them. Faint, distorted, synthetic Eve, but the AI's voice sounded wrong. Slow, tired, like someone speaking through static. "Captain Rowe," Eve said, "you're awake early. What happened?" Jalen demanded. "Why was I brought out of cryo?" "System failure," Eve replied. "Core damaged. External interference. Mission compromised." He turned to Mara. "Eve, is Lieutenant Chen active?" "Lieutenant Chen," the AI paused. "Record deceased prior to launch." Jalen felt the hairs on his neck rise. He looked at Mara again. She stood quietly beside the console, her eyes fixed on him. Not frightened, not robotic, just calm. "Then what is this?" he whispered. Eve crackled with static. Uncertain. Memory fragments corrupted. Cross-referencing human data. Attempting restoration. Restoration of what? Identity. The word echoed in the empty bay. Mara's head turned slightly at the sound as if she recognized it. She touched the console again and the hum of machinery filled the air. Jalen took a cautious step closer. Mara, if you can hear me. Do you know who I am? She looked at him. Really looked. And something flickered in her eyes. Recognition. Sadness. A kind of distant warmth. Then she whispered, barely audible. You came back. Jalen froze. The sound of her voice hit him like a memory. He wanted to ask more. 1,000 questions. But before he could, alarms blared. Red lights filled the room. Eve's voice grew sharp. Warning. External signal detected. Intrusion attempt at AI core. Mara flinched and grabbed his arm, pulling him toward the central terminal. The screens filled with code. Long streams of data moving faster than human eyes could follow. What's happening? Jalen asked. External transmission. Unknown origin, Eve said. Code resembles biological structure. Infectious pattern, like a virus? Yes, but not human. Mara pressed her palm against the screen and the scrolling data slowed, reacting to her touch. The lights dimmed and for a moment the noise stopped. Jalen stared. What did you just do? She turned to him, her expression unreadable. Then she smiled again. That same bold, confident smile that had once driven him crazy back on Earth during training missions. But before he could speak again, her image flickered. For a brief second he saw static wash over her body, like a glitch in a hologram. Then she was solid again. Eve's voice broke through the silence. Captain, I'm detecting unauthorized code integration. Lieutenant Chen's biological data is merging with artificial core memory. Merging? Affirmative. She should not exist, yet she does. Mara placed her hand on Jalen's shoulder, steady, grounding. Her voice was calm. Don't be afraid. Then the power cut. Total darkness swallowed the room. Only her faint glow remained, a golden shimmer outlining her shape, soft and warm against the void. Jalen's heartbeat echoed in his ears. The silence pressed around him, but he didn't feel alone. In that strange, frozen dark, Mara's voice whispered through the air, gentle but firm. Stay awake. Jalen, I need you to see this through. And just before the emergency lights flickered back on, he thought he saw her smile, bold and fearless, like a spark of humanity in a dying machine. The emergency lights flickered weakly, casting long shadows across the frozen pods. The Aegis Dawn groaned as its engines struggled to maintain minimal function. Jalen's muscles ached, but he didn't stop. His eyes never left Mara. She stood near the central console, her posture calm and confident. Her smile, bold and unwavering, had seemed to anchor him. Despite everything, he felt a strange reassurance. Somehow she was real. Somehow she was there. Jalen, Mara said, her voice soft but certain. We need to stabilize the core. Eve is failing, and if the AI dies, so do we. He blinked. Wait, what do you mean we? You're not supposed to exist. She ignored the question. Instead, she tapped on the console. Data scrolled across the screens faster than his eyes could read. The ship's AI core was corrupted, infected with a strange alien code. A signal that seemed alive, constantly changing, seeking to rewrite everything. Eve's voice cut in, still faint and distorted. Captain Rowe, the intruder is adapting to all standard countermeasures. Its structure is biological in pattern but digital in form. Containment will fail unless human intervention is applied. Jalen frowned. Human intervention? You mean me? Yes, Mara said. Her hand hovered over a touchpad, scanning the streams of corrupted code. And me? Her words made no sense. She was human. At least she looked human. But Eve had just said she was somehow both alive and artificial. Jalen shook his head, trying to make sense of it. How are you doing this? He asked. I don't know, she admitted, her smile never fading. I just remember. I remember what I used to do, how I used to fix things. Jalen stared at her. You remember? Yes, she said, but not in the way you think. My memories are part of the AI now, part of Eve. I exist because of her, and she exists because of me. I'm both real and something new. Something in between. The truth hit him slowly. Mara wasn't alive in the traditional sense. She was a human algorithm, born from a fusion of Eve's failing core and the fragments of her own mind. The AI hadn't just tried to repair itself, it had reconstructed her. Jalen felt a shiver run down his spine. But instead of fear, he felt something stronger. Determination. If humanity could survive space, if it could adapt and endure, then maybe it could survive this too. Then we fight it, he said. Whatever this thing is. We fight it together, Mara nodded. Yes, but it will learn from us. We can't fight it like a normal virus. We have to be smarter, faster, human. Jalen glanced at the console. Streams of code were racing across every screen, forming patterns he couldn't understand. Numbers, shapes, sequences, they moved like living creatures. It's trying to overwrite the core, Eve said. It recognizes threats. It adapts to human commands. It is learning. Jalen swallowed hard. Learning? Yes, Mara said, her eyes scanning the lines of code. It's trying to become more than just a signal. It wants life, and it's using us to figure out how. The captain's hands clenched into fists. Life, it's not supposed to have life. Only humans survive out here. Only humans endure. Mara smiled again, a little brighter this time. Exactly. And that's why it will never beat us. We have something it doesn't. Instinct, creativity, courage, and boldness. Jalen raised an eyebrow. Boldness? She nodded. You know it. That spark that makes humans do the impossible. The impossible is what keeps us alive. He felt a surge of pride. In a galaxy that was cold and endless, humanity's greatest weapon wasn't technology. It was people. And somehow in the middle of this frozen nightmare, Mara embodied that weapon. Together they began working on the core. Jalen followed her instructions. Reconnecting power conduits, rerouting circuits, rebooting the systems manually. Every step required precision, careful thought, and trust. Trust in Mara, trust in Eve, and trust in himself. Hours passed. The alien signal continued its attack, shifting, adapting. Every attempt to shut it out failed. And yet, with each failure, Mara learned. She adjusted her approach, finding weaknesses the code didn't know existed. It's like it's thinking, Jalen muttered, wiping sweat from his brow. Not thinking, Mara said. Observing, testing, copying, that's the difference. Machines can learn, but they can't understand humans the way we understand each other. That's why it can't defeat us. Jalen nodded, feeling the truth of her words. Humanity wasn't perfect. It made mistakes, it hesitated, it failed. But it could adapt, it could improvise, and it could fight back when all hope seemed lost. He glanced at her. Despite the impossible circumstances, she radiated confidence, a quiet strength that seemed almost contagious. Captain, Eve said, voice clearer now. I have isolated the alien signal's primary node. Attempting direct confrontation will risk full AI collapse. Human intuition required. Jalen took a deep breath. Then it's us. Mara and me. Let's do it, Mara nodded. Yes, let's show it what humans can do. Working side by side, they traced the signal through the ship's networks, isolating it in a small, contained loop. The alien code reacted instantly, trying to escape, trying to infiltrate every system. Now, Jalen, Mara said, focus on the logic. Forget the fear. Use your instincts. He followed her instructions. He traced the lines, cut the wrong connections, rerouted power. He made decisions on the fly, trusting Mara's guidance and his own judgment. The code pulsed and writhed as if alive. Then Mara stepped forward, touching the main terminal. The alien signal seemed to hesitate, like it recognized her. Jalen watched in awe. Her fingers moved quickly, deliberately, almost like she was playing an instrument. Every motion reshaped the code. The alien virus tried to resist, but her understanding was faster, sharper, more human. It's working, he said, hope rising in his chest. Yes, she whispered. We can contain it, but only if we act together. Remember, it learns from every move. Predict it, but don't let it predict you. Hours turned into minutes that felt like seconds. The ship shook with strain. Alarms blared intermittently, but they didn't stop. Together, human and algorithm, they forced the alien signal into a contained loop, neutralizing its immediate threat. Finally, after what felt like eternity, the screen stabilized. The red alerts faded. The Aegis Dawn systems hummed steadily, life support returning to full function. Jalen slumped in exhaustion, breathing heavily. We did it. Mara smiled, that same bold smile, and placed a hand on his shoulder. We did it, for now. But the universe is vast, Jalen, and there will always be more challenges. He looked around at the frozen crew, the vast emptiness outside the hull, and realized something. Humanity had survived countless trials. It had explored, endured, and fought against impossible odds. And here, in the cold void of space, it still could. Eve's voice, now calm and steady, filled the room. Captain Rowe, Lieutenant Chen, primary system stabilized. Alien signal contained. Probability of further immediate interference reduced to 0.002%. Jalen exhaled slowly. Good, that's good. Mara turned to him, her eyes reflecting the dim light. You see, Jalen, humans aren't meant to be alone. We survive because we connect, because we fight, because we refuse to give up, even in the face of the impossible. He nodded, understanding for the first time the strange miracle in front of him. Mara was more than just a memory. She was proof of human ingenuity, human courage, and human resilience. And as the first true quiet of the day settled over the ship, Jalen realized something else. No matter what the universe threw at them, humans would endure, not because they were the strongest or the fastest or the smartest, but because they were bold, fearless in the face of the unknown, and unwilling to surrender. He looked at Mara, and for the first time he felt hope, not just for himself, but for the Aegis Dawn, for the crew, and for all humanity. Somewhere deep inside, the ship's AI stirred again, integrating the human memories, the courage, and the boldness that had just saved them. Jalen knew the fight wasn't over. The alien signal was only the beginning, but for now humanity had won, and humanity would always rise. The Aegis Dawn shuddered as it drifted through the endless darkness of deep space. Even after hours of stabilization, alarms still rang faintly in the background, a reminder that the universe was vast, unpredictable, and dangerous. Captain Jalen Rowe wiped sweat from his brow, his hands shaking from exhaustion. Beside him, Mara Chen, or the human AI fusion that bore her memories, stood tall, her eyes calm, her bold smile steady. She had become more than a memory, more than a reflection of what once was. She had become a symbol of something humanity had always carried within itself, endurance against the impossible. Eve's voice came through, steady now, but with a new tone, curious, almost human. Captain Rowe, Lieutenant Chen, analysis indicates that the alien signal is attempting a final integration. Probability of containment failure high, Jalen swallowed. How high? 72%, Eve said. Mara's smile didn't falter. Then we prepare for the 72%. That's how humans surviving. We face impossible odds and refuse to step back. Jalen's chest tightened. He glanced at the frozen crew around them. Even if they succeeded, it was unlikely any of them would wake from cryo before the ship reached Proxima 9. Yet he felt a surge of determination. No, he said. We can't lose. Not now, not ever. Humanity doesn't surrender. Mara stepped forward, her hand brushing the console. Streams of alien code flickered across the screen, writhing like living creatures. The signal pulsed, sensing resistance. Jalen, Mara said softly, this isn't just a code. It's learning. It's trying to understand us. If we falter, it will rewrite the ship, all of it. Life, memories, everything. He nodded. Then we make it understand one thing. Humans do not yield. Working together, they began isolating the core again. Jalen rerouted power to emergency channels while Mara guided him, her intuition blending with the AI's systems. Every movement, every choice required precision. One mistake could mean total failure. The alien signal responded immediately, changing patterns, splitting, trying to escape containment. Jalen felt a wave of panic rising, but Mara's hand on his shoulder steadied him. Focus, she whispered. Remember why we fight. He closed his eyes for a moment and let the memory of Earth ground him. The warmth of sunlight on his face, the sound of wind through trees, the laughter of friends and family. That spark, that simple reminder of life, gave him clarity. They attacked the signal with strategy, not force. Jalen created decoys in the system while Mara traced the code's structure. Eve provided support, offering calculations and predictive models, but it was human intuition that made the difference. The alien code pulsed violently, like a creature wounded but defiant. It tried to infiltrate Mara's form, probing the human AI fusion that had become her, but she adapted, adjusting her digital presence faster than it could anticipate. Jalen watched in awe as she danced across the console interface, moving with a combination of speed, instinct, and creativity that no machine, Not even the alien code honor could match. Every time it tried to predict her moves, she had already changed tactics. Minutes felt like hours. The ship shook under strain, lights flickering wildly. Yet amidst the chaos, Mara remained a calm center, a lighthouse of humanity in a sea of uncertainty. "Almost there," she said, eyes focused, voice steady. "One final push," Jalen swallowed. He took a deep breath and made the decisive move. He cut the alien signal's access to the ship's main network entirely, isolating it within a tiny, sealed loop. The code pulsed violently, writhing, screaming in ways only a machine could. But it could not escape. Mara placed both hands on the console and, for a moment, her body shimmered faintly with golden light. The glow of human memory fused with artificial intelligence. The alien signal pulsed one final time and then collapsed. Silence returned. The ship's systems hummed steadily. Emergency lights dimmed to normal levels. The cryopods maintained stable conditions. Eve's voice was calm, even gentle. Containment successful. Alien signal neutralized. Probability of recurrence minimal. Jalen exhaled, relief washing over him. His knees nearly gave way, but Mara caught him with a steadying hand. "You did it," he said, voice trembling. "No," Mara replied, her bold smile unwavering. "We did it together." He looked at her, realizing fully for the first time what had happened. She was not just a fragment of memory. She was the living proof of humanity's creativity, resilience, and courage. She was a reminder that even in the void, humans could leave an imprint of themselves that no force, not even alien or artificial, could erase. Eve's voice spoke again, softer this time. "Captain Rowe, Lieutenant Chen. Analysis indicates integration of human memory with AI has improved system efficiency by 37%. Risk of failure in future crises reduced." Jalen laughed softly. "That's actually good news." Mara tilted her head, still smiling. "It's more than good news. It's proof that humans are never truly alone. Even when we face the void, we carry our courage, our memories, and our boldness with us." He nodded, understanding. Humanity's strength was never in their ships or their weapons. It was in their spirit. It was in their ability to adapt, to survive, to endure. As the hours passed, Jalen and Mara worked to repair the ship further, stabilizing life support, rerouting power to critical systems, and preparing the Aegis Dawn for the long journey ahead. Every task reminded him that survival was not a gift. It was earned through intelligence, creativity, and determination. Later, as they stood in the observation deck, gazing out at the stars, Mara spoke quietly. "Do you see it, Jalen? Every star is a chance, every planet a challenge. And every challenge is a chance to prove that humans are more than just fragile creatures. We are survivors, fighters, dreamers." Jalen smiled. He had no words for what he felt: awe, pride, hope. He understood now that humanity's greatest power was the courage to face the unknown, to defy impossibility, and to keep moving forward. Suddenly, a faint signal flickered on the ship's sensors. Another anomaly, far distant, barely detectable. Jalen's heart beat faster. "Another one?" he asked. Mara shook her head, still smiling boldly. "Perhaps. But if it comes, we will be ready. We will endure. We always do." He nodded, understanding fully. Humanity would continue no matter the odds. Machines might fail. Alien codes might attack. Stars might burn out and collapse. But humans would rise. The Aegis Dawn drifted silently through the void, carrying within it the heart of humanity: courage, boldness, and hope. Jalen looked at Mara, the living algorithm that had saved the ship. He realized that her smile, bold, unwavering human honor, was the true victory, not over the alien signal, but over the universe's indifference. "Thank you," he said softly. Mara tilted her head again, golden light faintly shimmering around her. "No," she said. "Thank us. Together we proved that humans are never defeated, not by machines, not by aliens, not by space itself." Jalen smiled, feeling a warmth that had nothing to do with the ship's failing heaters, and as the stars stretched endlessly before them, he knew one thing for certain: as long as humanity endured, hope would always shine, and boldness would always lead the way. Eve's voice filled the room one last time, calm and clear. "Captain Rowe, Lieutenant Chen, system stable. Humanity survives." Jalen took a deep breath, looking at Mara's smile, bright, fearless, alive. In that moment, he understood the full meaning of what they had accomplished. Humans were small, fragile, yet impossible to defeat. And in the void of space, that boldness shone brighter than any star.